teens, friends, familiars, and bicyclists, and not those two-wheeled bicyclists that you power on your own. We're talking motorcyclists here. This is Matt Orozco from Macabre Daily, and I am joined by Matthew Ninaber and Gabriel Carrer, who are the star, producer, director, and editor of Death Cycle, which is just premiering at Fright Fest, I believe, tomorrow. Is that correct? Correct, gentlemen?
Yep, yep. Here, stuck in the hotel room.
Well, I know waiting is the hardest part, but I'm
Yeah.
really appreciative of you all spending some time to talk with me. And as I just said before we started the recording, this movie absolutely fucking rips. I loved every second of it, and I believe everyone that sees this in the theater tomorrow is going to be in for an absolute treat. So I'm going to preemptively congratulate you on what I think is going to be a rousing success tomorrow.
Oh,
Uh,
dude.
but my first question is just kind of go conceptually. Where did this idea come from? Because I know Gabriel, you played one of the, you do some of the bike work in this. You've dabbled in this previously in some of your other films. So was this always an idea that you just had kind of nestling in to do a Nightmare Beach redo?
Man, it's we have movies tied up right now with bigger studios and stuff, and it's just one of those things that it takes forever to get off the ground. And Dave McLeod is a writer who I work with all the time on stuff. He has stuff tied up, and it's just not getting off the ground. So it's one of those things where I went to Dave. I said, "Look, this is what we have. You know what we like. Like, let's figure something out. You know what I mean? Like, let's see if we can shoot something that we have access to all the things that we can use. Use the tools of the trade as every filmmaker's thing instead of waiting, because we're waiting like 2 or 3 years after For the Sake of Vicious. So he went and he wrote the script, and I think it was like a few passes, and then yeah, like right off the bat, it was something that we were always into. And then I pitched Matt the idea, and he was down, and it was pretty easy.
Yeah, before I was down, he had explained to me what Jello.
Gallo was.
I was just like, "Are we saying Jello films? Like, what are you talking about, man?" So I had a hard school of hanging out in Gabe's basement and him just showing me movie after movie after movie. I'm like, okay, I think I get it now.
So
There's a
black
formula
gloves.
here.
Yeah, there's got to be black gloves. There's got to be some very like really forget the name of the color, but the kind like very kind of neon almost lit colors. And there's got to be blood. There's just got to
Yeah.
be blood.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's awesome. I mean, I think like one thing we don't get a lot of in genre films these days is like we get a lot of homage, but I think oftentimes it gets caught up in its own intentions of trying to do, either be too authentic or be too modern. But you all have walked a very fine line by paying, really, good homage to the kinds of films that it's based off of with the look and the feel. But also, I was thinking the whole time, this is like an 80s Argento Giallo because you've got like Iron Maiden busting in, in the midst of a chase scene, and then you've got some really great goblin synths. You have that. So I want to talk about the music because
Yeah.
that's one of the propulsive parts of the
Yeah.
of the film. And I'm drawing a blank on the name of the folks that did the score. But if you could talk a little bit more about them and the process of getting them involved.
Yeah, so Fox Grinder is me. I did the score, but then the two instrumentals, like the opening credit sequence, was done by a musician called Jacob, and he's like a freelance guitarist, metalist. His credits are at the beginning of the movie and end of the movie. And he did the opening credits music and the end credit music, and then a wonderful band called Bonnie Trash. They actually did. They had that. There's scene in the movie where it's a kill scene, and the whole entire scene is done to their song. We didn't have that song while we were filming that scene. Our cinematographer Andy, he's actually friends with some of the members in the band. He's like, "What about something like this music?" I'm like, "Oh, this sounds great." So I found that song and I put it. I'm like, "Oh, this is. What if I just cut and edit the scene to this song? Have you seen her?" And I'm like, "This fits perfect," because even the song lyrics, like, "Have you seen her?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm like, this is like a marriage in half." So the band was super cool of us using it. So it's kind of, I mean, we love music. We love using different musics in the movie, and the music just shapes the film and adds so much more to it. But yeah, those were kind of the big things. And then otherwise, instrument wise, it was just like I had a lot of leftover stems and leftover project files from stuff I was just like messing around with, and it's just a matter of like, oh, like this kind of sounds, and you just kind of mess around with things. It's like a vibe. So I had some leftover stuff from For the Sake of Vicious that was not being used, and I didn't use then, so I just kind of try to transfer it over to this too.
I mean, it works swimmingly. And again, you've got your hands in so much of this, Gabriel. So like, hats off to you. But also, Matt, I don't want to discount you here. I mean, one, I think a lot of folks are used to seeing you in a suit, and all bloodied up. But this time you get to play a little bit more dramatic role. So how was it transitioning kind of away from some of the more action heavy stuff you do into something that's far more grounded?
Yeah, so that was a conversation I had with Gabe early on. Like, I do so much monster work, which is all like overacting to get like the expressions through, the prosthetics and stuff like that. And just coming up with where he wanted Luca to be was a big dialogue. So we went back and forth a couple times, but I really enjoyed it. It's fun not hiding behind a mask, so that's new, and it was a lot of fun working on set with Gabe, and it was a very small, intimate set. So Kristen was fantastic to work with, and just yeah, I loved it. Love making movies, love being part of this, and the whole process was just fun to not have to go through all the makeup that I usually go through and just get
Right.
to.
Yeah, Matt was really good with that too because he's also a film director and an actor. Like I'm just a film director. I can act with no, I can't even act. I can act like with my friends and stuff, but nothing in front of the camera. But because he's a film director too, what I noticed when I was editing the film, and I was like, and I asked Matt this, he's like, "Yeah, dude, I was giving you that because I'm like, oh, dude, like you should have told me that." He's like, "No, no, no." So like, there's scenes in the film where before we roll with camera, Matt's in character just in front of the camera, and I used certain moments even in the film where we didn't even yell action yet, but the camera was rolling, and I was using some of that footage. That a lot of that stuff made it into the film too. So Matt like always gave more than he was always in that character, always in that moment, which was gold. Some of that stuff. Like,
Just from editing my own movies, I always wish the actors are in character. You know, that moment before they say action, there's always something
Right.
there. If they just looked over here or did that, so there's just some takes that I'd just be looking places, and Gabe's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Trust me, you may need this." But you're not.
Matt, answer me.
Okay. But it's good that you have that awareness, right? Because I think that's what, again, you were directing Kristen in A Night's War, Matt, and then, now you're playing opposite her. And I got to say, Kristen is like, if we're looking for new James Bonds, I think Kristen could put her hat in the ring because she is a true badass in both this and A Night's War.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I think you're right about, for one, like not having to put that makeup, it must have made your call time so much better than it normally would have been. But you do great, you do a fantastic job, like, with just playing Luca as a grounded character who, for all intents and purposes, is really the only person besides Kristen's character we're really rooting for. So I think that transition works really, really well. And, this is obviously like an independent film, but it doesn't look that way. I think, and I know this because I know the backgrounds you all come from. But what were some of the non-negotiables that you had in regards to going into this, ensuring like we have to make sure it has these things no matter what?
Motorcycle.
Motorcycles.
Right. Yeah.
There's never enough motorcycles in movies. The last movie I wanted to put motorcycles in, but it was like, I don't know, it just didn't happen. And I was like, okay, well, there needs to be more motorcycles. Motorcycles is always the rule of cool, If you got more motorcycle stuff, and we shot a lot of the motorcycle stuff after the film was done, kind of, I've already had it edited, and I could kind of see where, we needed to put, transitions with motorcycles, and we needed to have kills. We had at least one kill done by a motorcycle. Like, you can't call a movie Death Cycle and not have one kill done with a motorcycle. So that was another thing we talked to the effects people Locked in the Cellar, which were amazing to work with.
Great
so they
work.
and they came up with a lot of the kills. Like we had ideas, but they really kind of took it their own and pitched some stuff to us. So a lot of credit goes to the kills in this film. Like, they knew the budget we had to work with, they the locations and what we had to do, and they really made that. So I think we got two kills in the motorcycle done with two kills in the movie done with a motorcycle, which was great.
And this is not really like in the movie, but we wanted to have fun making it.
Yeah.
This was something that we did without any studio. We were able to control all the things that we're putting into it. And we wanted to go back to the love of making movies, the love of hanging out with each other, having a group of people that's just like, I got your back, you got my back.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun making this and just laughing and just like, it was a good time. And that was a non-negotiable for us. So
yeah, like we even used Dave McLeod's house and the writer Dave for like a few of the set pieces, especially the end of the film set piece. Won't give anything away, but some action takes place in this house, and that's where Kristen's in. And again, like just hanging out. Like I think that night was just like you, me, Andy, Kristen, and our Chris Sanchez. It was like 4 or 5 of us.
Wow.
And I was we wired audio in the house just to pick up the audio. It was like, but we were there like 2 a.m. like doing this fight stuff in the hallways and things and like the stairwells, and like Kristen was so excited. It just felt like you were like it felt like your parents weren't home and you were like making food for high school, like
Yeah.
To sleep over.
It actually, yeah. At any moment, I'm like, we're gonna get in trouble. I'm like, Matt, you're a grown adult. What are you doing? So, but
Yeah.
it brought me back to why I love making movies, and this was such a special project for that reason. It's yeah, it was yeah.
I mean, it shows, right? I think it's really, I can't say that anyone can tell when people aren't having a good time on a set, but I think you can definitely tell when people are. And I think it shows in kind of how authentic and genuine the performances are. And you have some kind of few characters that are really chewing scenery in this thing as well. So it's not like it ever goes over the top, but I
Right.
think you hit on something about it being fun is that I think we get, and I say this with love, we get a lot of genre films that are very heavy in themes and
Yeah.
like really want you to think about something else beyond what you're seeing on the screen. And while there is certainly an element of kind of, you know, comment on like how, you know, the rich can get away with it to some extent, that's
Yeah.
never the point of the movie. The point of the
No.
movie is this is a revenge story by
Yeah.
way of a murderous motorcyclist. And the motorcycle kills are uh, they're going to be in people's lists as far as best kills of the year because they're especially the first one. That's just so fucking
You
cool.
think so?
Uh,
Oh man, okay, that's good to hear. I don't know. I always feel like, I mean, there always critique, and I know they could have been bigger and better, but we really tried, and I want people to know, like, we really tried our best with what we had to pull that up. You know, like we could have. I wanted them to go even bigger and like crazy, but we just didn't have the resources. You know,
totally.
some of those kills, and I always
They're
like
being saved for Death Cycle 2. They're being
saved for the sequel.
I mean, I feel like there is, I mean, one, you do a lot with a little, and I think that that shows because there are points in which like you get the full experience without having to kind of go through the full effect shot, you know? And I think there's so many of these scenes that work so well because of like not being fully immersed in it, right? Like, you know,
Yeah,
Terrifier to some extent is becoming almost and I say this with again with love, it becomes a bit of a
yeah,
farce because it's so much that you're like, okay, the human body doesn't have that much blood in it. So like
right,
there's you
right.
know, like this is getting to a point of absurdity, but there's still that line of fun, but also kind of hyper violence that I think works extremely well in Death
Yeah.
Cycle.
When will this come out? Because we could spoil something after the movie's out.
Don't spoil it.
So I'm not going to spoil it, but there is one kill in this
No,
movie where
no.
I'm not telling them what it is. Where we didn't have Locked in the Cellar in for that day or night or day, and we had it was me and Andy and you know someone else, and we were in the car. We had pizza. We ate our dinner. The three of us, four of us, in the car, in my car, pizza. We had Tim Hortons coffee. We went to the set, and we didn't have FX people or anything with us, and we actually used. I wanted to put some stuff somewhere, and we didn't have anything. So I was like, I'm going to go to the car and get the cheese and sauce from the leftover pizza slices we have. And they're like, what? And I'm like, so I got it, like ripped off the cheese and pizza, literally off our dinner, brought it to the spot, put it on, and I was like, fuck, it needs blood. We don't have any blood. I'm like, I have leftover black coffee still. So in my cart again. So I went back to my car, got my coffee from Tim Hortons with the black coffee and poured it on. And that was your gag. It's literally in the film. I'll tell you after this call what scene it was, but it was literally it's cheese, pizza, pepperoni, and black coffee was our gag. And then Andy just color graded a little bit. Our cinematographer, you know, he angled the shot and supposed to make the coffee look red. But I'm like, did we just like do a gag with like our dinner?
I mean, that's independent filmmaking. Like that is that's like Larry Cohen. That's like Larry Cohen guerrilla filmmaking. It's like going and get the shot with whatever you've got and get, you know, and move on. So I mean, I think, but again, I think what works so well about Death Cycle is that it is like none of that's, you know, I love hearing this stuff, but it all looks so good on the screen. It all looks so well put together. And, you know, credit to all the effects folks for the work that they did.
Yeah.
Because again, with independent film, I know it is kind of a decision of budget more than anything else. It's not so much desire, but how much can we afford to get away with? And, you know, I touch on something I asked you both a little bit earlier before I started. The questions was, you know, what's going on in Canada? Because it's no secret that Canada has been putting out great genre films for decades. This isn't like I think anyone that's been a horror fan for a long time can easily name, probably has a favorite film that was made in Canada or made by a Canadian filmmaker. But what we're seeing with folks like Black Fawn, you know, and you know the success they're seeing with It Feeds, Undertone, and now Death Cycle, kind of being another. I'm again presuming the success here. So, what do you think is causing all this? Like, you know, what do you all think from the inside is generating all these great genre films in Canada?
I think it's drive, because in Canada it's so hard, and Chad from Black Fawn and I talk about this, and Matt and I do too. It's so hard. Like, it just sometimes feels like in Canada, especially where we're from, like we're outside of the Toronto, we're outside the bubble. Sometimes you feel like you're in like a concrete wall room screaming and no one can hear you. So it's just like you don't have any rules. So you're always trying to make a film that can kind of just try to like get out there somehow. So like you always, when you make your film, you just try to approach from different perspectives, that stuff that you don't really see out there right now, this second, in your local scene or local hub. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's what at least I try to do. Like, what's kind of like, what am I not seeing in Southern Ontario right now? You know, and I'm like, is there a story here that I can tell? Or is there a story here that's not being done that, you know, I can kind of fill this little gap or this little niche part?
Yeah. On top of that, there's something cool that's happening. Is there's a lot of filmmakers coming out, and it's iron sharpens iron. Like Chad is doing amazing stuff. There's also Steve Costanzi is doing amazing things.
Oh, yeah.
Violent Nature came out by Chris, who did my makeup on both PG and Death Valley. And there's a small little cluster of guys that are all talking about making movies, and they're actually doing it. And when you get into a group of people who are so excited about making movies, but then are actually doing it, it just becomes this thing where it's like there's no excuses. It's just like we're just get shit done. Let's make movies. And going back to the death cycle, it's like, okay, the studios aren't coming forward with money because of whatever reason. Who cares? We're gonna make we're gonna make another movie. And it's that mandate that we're not gonna wait for people to make your dream come true. You gotta make the dream come true yourself. And if there's anything that I want to inspire people with, is like there's so many just people in our just circle who just said, screw it, I'm doing it. And they're making it happen, and it becomes contagious. And if you become one of those people, another one pops up, and it's just like, I don't think we could stop.
No.
Like there is no.
It's like a break.
It's a compulsion.
Yeah.
It's this thing. It's just like you feel like you're being. It's just like, oh my gosh, this Chad just did this, Gabe did this, and it's just like, oh, and you just feel like you're being pulled along. So I think we're super lucky right now because there is no film industry, but then all of a sudden there is this group of people. It's this weird paradox. So yeah, it's cool.
And it brings other people in. I mean, I saw John Ainsley as a producer on this, and like, I love Do Not Disturb. Like, such an underseen film that's so wild and weird. And I told John, I'm like, it's the first movie that actually gets doing like hallucinogens, right? And like how you experience time and space at that moment.
Yeah.
But you know, and Matt, to give you some credit, like I remember when I talked to you about A Night's War, you know, you built those sets in your backyard. Like, that's insane. Like Stephen Kostansky, when I spoke to him last year, told me, like, when we were talking about Frankie Frico, and I asked him, you know, why you make, you know, you've made movies in every genre that almost seems to exist, like every genre that genre kids like. Why are you doing it? He's like, well, I just wanted to make the movies that I wanted to see. You know, like I want to make the movies that I want to see in the video store.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, Frankie Frico's My Little Stinker movie. You know, he's like, he's got Deathstalker coming out, which is going to be the sword and sandal. You know, so I think there is this, you know, I think you are right about this gravitational pull that kind of creatives have that are doing the thing. And that's why I think what we're seeing, again, what you both said makes sense in regards to what's happening in Canada. And one thing I want to give a lot of, you know, I'm heaping praise on you all here just because of how much I love the movie. But I want to say on the editing front, so this is a tight 80-minute movie. And bless you for that, because there's a tendency, and not so much in independent genre films, but more so in studios, to kind of really make this, you know, the Netflix event phenomenon where we have to make this so long and drawn out so people sit in the seats longer.
Yeah.
You know, how was it always designed to be kind of a very tight, efficient script, or did you have to cut stuff to make that happen?
No, it was always designed to be short and tight. I think the original script was like 70 something minutes. And in fact, like the kill scenes, Dave left the kill scenes in the script open. So I know in the script it says, and so comes and cut to back to whatever. So like insert kill scenes. Because we wanted to talk to Locked in the Cellar and see what we could do. And so once I found out from Locked in the Cellar what gag they were thinking for the FX scene, then I'd go to Dave and be like, okay, we have this location. This is the gag they're thinking. Now I'm going to start, you know, we'll start composing how it leads up to the kill scene. And when we get on set to film it, we kind of just took our time filming it that way. But that was probably the most challenging part, because we were short on time. Like, it was like a 75 page script. It was very short. So we know those kill scenes needed to be not drawn out, but like have a little bit of build up. So that's why at the end of the film, when someone dies, there's definitely, but we were also able to lead into the giallo sensibilities of that buildup with the mirror and reflections and stuff like that, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So it enabled us to have like a little bit of a playground with that. That was hard though, because like usually with a script, you have like everything broken down and like the coordination of the fight scene or whatever's going to happen and the kills and stuff like that. This was like, yeah, it was a little different.
I mean, I think what helps is the way that the story's told it avoids what often happens in independent films, which is the second act lull, which is like we have this great opening, this great third act, but the middle is like we have to get the story through somehow so that it
Right.
gets us to the third act. But I think what you all do so well,
Mm.
well here is that you mix up like, you use the advantage of that exploitation films provide, which is the opportunity to like not tell something the most direct way and
Right.
move the aesthetics around so that it doesn't always feel like you're watching a movie or you're supposed to be fully drawn into immersed. It's more so like I'm here to be entertained, and I
Yeah.
think that really works in favor of how you edit it and how you put it all together.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, my last question for you both is, you know um if you're asked to put together a double feature with Death Cycle, what movie do you think would make a really fun companion piece to go see along with it?
Oh,
You can pick more than one, but if you're coming up with like multiples, but
well, like, I mean, I love the artwork for Nightmare Beach. And I'm dying. I have no money, and I would love to find a poster artist who loves this film who can give me a deal on making some amazing poster art. Because I'm just in Photoshop half the time, just dragging things around. So like Nightmare Beach, I forget what it was like, but I would love to like have like Nightmare Beach with like Death Cycle. Death Proof is a little, I feel like, is not really. I mean, maybe Death Proof because it is vehicle
Yeah, like,
vehicle horror,
do you
but
do the same, or do you go a little different?
well, that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good question. Do you put like I feel like Death Cycle is not slower, but I don't know if you put Death Cycle. I feel like it's an opening act type of film.
yeah,
You know what I
I mean,
mean?
or a great sweetener at the end. I mean, I think when you're programming like a long film festival, for example, like your first movie and your last movie and your middle movie
Right.
have to get people up. And
Yeah.
so you put this anywhere in between there.
Oh yeah.
Also Night School features a pretty prominent
Yeah.
motorcycle head killer. And you'll see there's no wrong answers to this question. So
Yeah.
what about you, Matt?
Only because I just came out of the movie theater watching this, but it's a new one. It's Applepheniac.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Is that good?
Yes,
Yes.
Gabe and I just finished watching it. We were just talking to the director, and
We've been hanging out with Chris this whole time, and
Yeah,
we're all like,
yeah.
we're just jiving with each other. It was just so much fun. We like love that movie. I
Yeah.
messaged Kelly about it. I was like,
But it's another film. The reason
Yeah.
I pair it up is that he basically self-funded it as well.
Yeah.
So has like,
Oh, yeah.
It's anyway. So cool kills.
yeah, you know what? I would pair it up with this.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
they're
is
completely different movies.
completely different.
But like, I feel like you would get everyone in the audience or in a viewership coming out of that night of this double feature satisfied in some way.
yeah, you'd be
Yeah,
good.
almost like they're
fill all
almost
the
like they're
void.
riled up. Like kind of like when you leave a good movie and you're like, holy shit, I got all this energy I need to get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to see that at Fantastic Fest. So
Dude. Oh, are you going to like you're going to fight, dude?
yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will you guys be there?
Ren, you definitely want to set up an interview with Chris.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
He's an awesome guy. Yeah.
I mean,
And some of
I'm
the stuff he was telling us is like right up. Like it's oh man, you did that. Like
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah, we saw it was going to be at Fantasia, and we weren't there this year in person. But this year we've been going to Fantastic Fest for a few years now, so
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'll be there this year, and that's on my list of things to see. But
Okay, can you clear something up for us? We heard that reviewers debate and then they have to fight each other. Is that a thing?
well, you can bet on it, but yes, there's like a little. What you do is you have to be on the circle outside of where the fight happens and be near the guy taking the money. But there is like it's called, I think, a fantastic bouts or something like that. I forget what it's called, but there is like, you'll put two people together, and in the past they actually did a boxing match, but something happened. So now they kind of do like more debates. I think, it's Fantastic Debates is what it's called. But on the outside of the theaters, one of the coolest things about going to these film festivals, and I'm sure you all know this from having been to many of them, is you get to go outside and talk to people about the movie afterwards, and everyone's there to see these movies. So like they're all rearing and ready to talk, as opposed to like, my wife, I love her to death, but I'm like, how's the movie? She's like, oh, it was great. And she's like, and asked me, I'm like, Well, first things first, I got to get my notes out, right? So it's just a different, yeah, it's a different experience. But
Yeah.
I know we've come up on our time here, gentlemen, but I just want to say first and foremost, congrats on this film.
Thank you.
I hope that everyone receives it the way I did tomorrow because it's just so much fun. And I hope it gets a wider release as well because I just can imagine this being one of those movies that people just are like, hey, have you seen, that one that everyone's like, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Go check this one out.
That's awesome.
Um,
Thank you.
so I'll be watching whatever you guys are doing. I'm still waiting on A Night's War 2, Matt. So whenever that's coming.
I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping there's a chance. There's a chance. So I was in London and I found this at a video store, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I'm
I,
pumped. I'm
I'm
pumped.
waiting on. I ordered my limited edition set, so I'm waiting for those to come in. And when they do, this thing is getting played again on repeat. But
That's
Matt, Gabriel, Gabe, thank you so much for this time.
Thank you,
Good luck.
Matt.
Good luck tomorrow. Enjoy Fright Fest, and look forward to speaking with you again.
Awesome.